Marketer of the Day, number 512. Play a bigger game on LinkedIn. Private messages, multimedia, pulse, and social engagement with Jennifer Darling. Hey everyone, we're so glad that you're listening in today. We're talking with Jennifer Darling, and Jennifer works with organizations that want to connect and engage with their customers to activate sales. So we're going to hear about what that's all about, what Jennifer does and her team does as well, and what makes her stand out, what makes her unique. So Jennifer, glad to be talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Robert. I'm really happy to be here with you too.
I'm happy that you're here. And so what's on your mind lately? What has you fired up?
Oh my gosh, so much is going on. LinkedIn, honestly, has me super fired up right now because there's so much really incredible things happening over in the LinkedIn social media space, and everybody is wanting to know more about it. So that's what's got me fired up right now, Robert.
Well, great. Well, what's the skinny? What's the secret? What do we need to know about LinkedIn these days?
You know, it's interesting because LinkedIn is such a powerful social media platform, and so many people I'm finding are just starting to jump on and get involved in it. And I don't know if it's because Microsoft purchased the platform a year and a half ago and there's been a lot of changes, or because there's so many people out there talking about it, or because Facebook is making changes so fast you can't keep up with it. But with LinkedIn, what's super awesome is that it's really a business to business platform, or business to consumer, where your consumers are professionals. And it's like, to me, I describe it more like business news and business relationships, where Facebook is, I love Facebook, but it's a smorgasbord of everything from business to personal to drama and politics. So using LinkedIn, we can just really hone in and we can talk about business, and we can have professional relationships, I think, that are more less personal, more professional. And there's some really cool tools in LinkedIn that you can take advantage of that you can't take advantage of in Facebook.
Well, great. Well, I'm excited to jump in on what some of those tools are, and I completely agree with you. It feels like for a while there, for a few years, that Facebook was the way to connect with people, and it seems like as Facebook has just grown in popularity and become a bloated monster, it feels like, especially these last few months, that it's split in a lot of number of ways. It seems like the people who like to post photos of themselves have moved over to Instagram a little bit. The people that like to have all kinds of crazy deep conversations have moved over to Reddit. And then the people that are there for business and joint ventures have moved into LinkedIn. And I mean, I've had a LinkedIn account for years and years, and for the longest time it was just there just to have my resume there. And then when LinkedIn groups happened, I think I built a group of like 1,000 people on accident, but that didn't go anywhere. But then the last year or so, LinkedIn has really piqued my interest because of some of these new tools that are coming out, like first of all, with like the private messaging. And I didn't even know until recently that you could have somewhat of your own blog on LinkedIn, so that way you can post some interesting things and get it ranked highly in the search engines, kind of like back in the day when Easy Articles was a great way to kind of get ranked, and now like that doesn't really work, so now LinkedIn seems to replace that. And you and I were at an event and playing around with the video posting and the live streaming stuff, and so yeah, I feel like I've only hit the tip of the iceberg as far as some of the great things that LinkedIn is doing. So I mean, you tell me, what the heck are you seeing on LinkedIn these days?
I totally agree with you on all of that. And with LinkedIn, one of the things I think that sets it apart so uniquely is that when you put content on LinkedIn, it becomes searchable outside of LinkedIn. So you can get searched on Google, Yahoo, and Bing with the content you're putting on LinkedIn, and your profile searchable. That's not something that happens with Facebook. What you put in Facebook is searchable within Facebook. Now, granted, Facebook has millions or a billion users, and LinkedIn has 550 million users, but those 550 million are business to business, are business people, professionals, not just business to business. Like I said earlier, business to consumers who are professionals too. But you can become searchable on LinkedIn outside of that platform, and I love that. So what I'm seeing on LinkedIn right now is a couple of different things. One is the ability to post your articles, your blogs, your articles in their publishing platform. And Robert, I had one article that was viewed over 6,500 times across the world. I don't even have 6,500 connections. So if you get an article that is topical and gets published, gets picked up on their publisher platform that's called Pulse, then it can go viral like that really, really quick. Another thing that's really popular right now on LinkedIn is posting kind of, I call them mid-size shared updates. A mid-size shared update with content, but no pictures and not a ton of links. They're really amazing right now. The algorithms and the views for those type of profile shares are really high. I've had up to 2,000 views on a shared update. Now, you want to make sure those shared updates are full of valuable content and not just rambling on. You want to have, I kind of look at them like short stories. What's the story here? What's the quick plot? It's very challenging for me to write one of these mid-size updates because you're limited to about 1,300 characters, not words, but characters. So it's fun to write a short story and really get the point across with a few words. I love that feature. LinkedIn allows you to put multimedia, so you can put videos and PDFs in there. And I think one of the best things about LinkedIn is really the ability to engage and interact with people. I've been in sales and marketing for 20 years, and I don't really like getting in my inbox a new connection and they're trying to sell me something right away. I want to build a relationship with people. I want to learn about them. It's more of a soft sell using LinkedIn. I know some people are successful at the hard sell on LinkedIn, but I think providing value, like you're providing value with a podcast, that's an excellent way to provide value for people. And so the engagement and building relationships and being able to connect with people and find people is all very different in LinkedIn than it is on Facebook. The other thing I think is different, so many different things, and quite frankly, there's a lot of things that are similar too. But one of the things that I was just going to add about LinkedIn is that when you're talking about your business in LinkedIn, that's appropriate to talk about your business all the time because it's a business platform. But in Facebook, when you get in there, a lot of times people really don't want to hear much about your business. They feel like you just even talking about it constantly is a sales pitch. But that's not the culture in LinkedIn. All business. Nobody actually wants you to talk about politics, and nobody wants you to talk about what's going on with your dinner or post pictures of your cats and dogs and whatever. So it's strictly business.
That's very encouraging. So it sounds like maybe if we're trying to market on Facebook only, then we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole because what people are looking for on Facebook are cool pictures and cool updates and fun stuff, but not business stuff. And so why would we try to force it on Facebook, where on LinkedIn it's the opposite in a lot of ways, where people are looking for business stuff and they're not looking for the cute cat pictures. That's what Facebook is for. So this is making a lot of sense. And so you've thrown out a lot of cool ideas here, and you have me really curious about some of the details and the topics. So for example, you said that you published on your LinkedIn blog, and it was good content, and it was so good that it got picked up by LinkedIn Pulse. So, I mean, what was that blog about, and how the heck did you get it to get so much traction?
Well, I wish I could tell you how I got so much traction, because if I could figure that out, I would do it again, and it would be great. But I don't know exactly how they choose which articles get picked up on Pulse. And Pulse is like the Wall Street Journal or New York Times. Once an article goes out, it's going out to tons of the 550 million people that are on LinkedIn. And what the article was about, quite interestingly enough, a lady had private messaged me. And this is so I talk about 4 subjects typically on LinkedIn: sales, marketing, leadership, and positive attitude. And a lady had messaged me and asked me what to do if she felt like her boss was holding her back. And I private messaged her, but instead of private messaging her completely, I took her name out and I wrote her question and I responded to that question in my article. And my article was titled, "Help, My Manager is Holding Me Back." I posted the article that morning. I messaged her and said, "I've written a response to your question, but I've put it on LinkedIn's publisher, and so go there and read it, but I deleted your name and everything. And I left, this was a Saturday, I left to take my dogs to the dog park. And as I'm walking them through the dog park, I'm looking at my LinkedIn app on my phone, and my views are going 100, 200, 300, 400. I mean, they're going up so fast, I can't even barely keep an eye on my dogs because I'm getting really excited that my article is just taking off. And within like a couple of days, it was up to 2,000, and it keeps showing up in people's news feeds. Now, I wrote that article a couple of years ago, and it keeps building. The viewers and the audiences keep growing on that one article. It's quite extraordinary, but I wish I could tell you the secret sauce to getting them viral like that, but I don't know the answer. Now, I have a second article that is about creating a rock star LinkedIn profile, and that article has about 700 views. That article I actually cross promote. What I mean by that is if I'm out speaking on the topic of LinkedIn, it's one of the many things I speak about, and people want to know more information, I often direct them to my LinkedIn profile and tell them to go look for that article, although I've written an ebook that has more information now. But I tell them to go to that article because they can get some quick tips. So I'm constantly promoting that one article, and the more that articles get views, the more that LinkedIn's also going to create additional views and show up in other people's news feeds that I didn't tell about it. Does that make, I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense that you should bring some of your own traffic, and that if LinkedIn sees that your post gets tons and tons of views, then they're more likely to help you out in return and promote it and more and more. And that's
you got it.
That's a really good reminder, because I have to admit that I found that the LinkedIn area where you can like post the blog posts, the articles, whatever they call it, and I've posted a handful, and I kind of treated it as a blog a little bit, and I mailed a little bit of traffic there, but I need to keep on doing that. I need to send some more consistent traffic. That way I can get my numbers up, and I should be posting more often, because I totally didn't even realize that you can get picked for like the full-on newsletter, and I need to do that. But I really like your thought process, or how that came to be, where you didn't just think up of some topic out of thin air that sounded good. You based it off of someone's real problem, so that way it's like it's timely, it's talking about a trending topic, and that way it's like it almost writes itself, right? Because it's not like you're grasping at straws trying to think of stuff. Someone came to you with this real problem, they gave you some real details, you're emotionally invested. There's that, I don't know what you'd call it, but when a real human person comes to you, it's like there's more details filled in than something that you just imagined out of thin air. So that's a really good advice in general for never running out of ideas ever again for anything, right? You just base it off of what problems people come to you with. And what you're making me think way back to like, when I was a teenager and I got started, where I'm a computer programmer, and I would create software products and ebooks and things like that, and they were only selling okay, but my business really took off when I began listening to people, right? When people came to me and they said, well, I want a piece of software or a tool that does this, I have this problem. And then what I would do, instead of freelancing for that person, or instead of doing all this work just for that one person, I would go and create that software product and then I would sell it to the masses. And I think I'd give the one copy for free to the person, but I'd use someone's real idea as the seed to create the whole thing, and I could kind of double dip in the same way that you did, where I could make way more money selling this software product to all these people, and then I could go back to the person that came to me and basically have a customer for life, because they came to me and maybe expected like a price quote or something that I slapped together really quickly, and I said, no, I spent all this time on this thing, here's your copy. And then likewise in your situation, this person came to you with this problem, and they were expecting you to either not have an answer, or have the 2-sentence answer, or a link to go and hop on a call or something, but instead you went to all this effort, and then they're probably completely blown away by what you did. But it's also in your best interest as well, because now you're helping more people, you're getting more traffic. So it's a really great way, I think, it's simple, but it's also a great way to think outside the box, I think.
And the article got a lot of engagement as well. And so I had like 250 likes or something, and then I had roughly 35 comments. And when you go and you engage with each individual comment, your article, LinkedIn likes that, and your article gets pushed out even more. So I really enjoyed the engagement with the individuals. And when I heard you talking, one of the things I think about it with your podcast is that you can promote the podcast on your LinkedIn profile, but also your guests to have a link and be promoting that on their LinkedIn profile as well. It helps both of you, your guests and you, each cross promote each other on the platform of LinkedIn. And this is a multimedia. I realize we're not doing video here today, and video is great, but it's podcasts, and lots of people love to listen to podcasts. And put that right on LinkedIn with a description of what we're talking about today, or with any of your guests, and then everybody puts some skin in the game in promoting it, and more people promoting helps make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's a benefit for everybody.
Super cool. And yeah, you're making me realize that I definitely need to tap into LinkedIn as far as the podcast. And I mean, you're so right, and it's so obvious, because I've noticed that every once in a while, one of the guests promotes that episode on their LinkedIn wall and tags me in some way. And at the moment, I'm only promoting the podcast episodes on Facebook and on Twitter. But yeah, you're making me realize that every now and then a guest on their own is promoting on LinkedIn. So I mean, I've kind of been an idiot up to this point. I need to jump in on LinkedIn and promote it myself, and also get the guest promote, so that way everybody wins. And so
yeah. And if I can just add to that real quick, Robert, and no, you're not an idiot. The timing is just right for you. Now is the time. I've been posting shared updates, and 400, 500, 900, 2,000 views, and that's an excellent, well, on Facebook biz page I can tell how many views we're getting, but I'm not getting anywhere near that number of views. I posted a shared update for a friend of mine the other day who's doing a webinar, and she's had over 3,000 views in a week.
Jeez.
Yes, it's crazy. So no, you haven't been an idiot. LinkedIn wasn't doing this last year. LinkedIn is doing this now. So, you can jump on now and really help grow your podcast.
Perfect. Well, I'll set aside time this weekend to do that. And so we've been talking a lot about, have post these things on LinkedIn and network and do these things to, and bring your own traffic and do these things to get the views up. When comments come in, reply to those, so that way, people aren't just sending a comment to a vacuum, they get a reply, and maybe that even leads to even more interaction. So, having views and likes and comments and things are great, but how are you using LinkedIn to then turn it into real business?
You're taking it offline. So taking the conversation offline. The conversation starts online. I say that because my products are offline products. Although I have a couple of online products, I don't have a suite of online products. So if you're a company who does have a suite of online products, and I'll be rolling out a LinkedIn online training soon, that'll be something I can sell on LinkedIn. But right now it's mine is offline. So I like, share, and comment on other people's articles. And as we're building a relationship and getting to know each other, the conversation goes into Messenger, and then the conversation eventually comes to a phone call, or people coming to an event that I'm at, or people going to my website to get onto my email marketing list, people reading an article I wrote to get onto my email marketing list. So I'm always, in my articles, I'm always giving additional information to get over to my email marketing list, because I just believe that you never know when social media is going to change, and they own all those connections, not you. So if you can get them to your email marketing list and create a relationship there. So the point there is the relationship and the sale ends up being from an offline conversation.
Okay, great. And that's really good advice, to build that list in multiple places, because imagine if someone out there had built a huge list of friends on MySpace or something. I mean, you
Right.
never know when things are going to dry up. And so what does what is the I guess the text or the copy, I don't know if copy is the right word,
Mhm.
but the wording, how does the wording look like when you're trying to move things from a messenger conversation to a phone call? Do you just say like, do you ask them questions, or do you say,
You
let's
know,
get on a phone
I
call to meet or
yeah,
figure out your needs? Like, how does that look?
actually typically have people ask me to have a conversation, which I know sounds awesome, and it is awesome, but it's taken me a while to get to that place because I share so much value on LinkedIn. People want more. So when it goes to a LinkedIn Messenger, I typically have people ask me, can I schedule some time to meet with you? Can you take a look at, if it's for LinkedIn specifically, can you take a look at my LinkedIn profile and give me some feedback? I need help in determining how to set up my profile, or sometimes it's the technical piece of LinkedIn, because there are technical pieces of creating your profile, like in making sure you have the right website or you have your email on there. And then there's the branding components. How are you going to market yourself? What are the keywords you're going to use? How are you going to describe who you are and what you do and what your benefits are to customers? And so when that conversation goes over to Messenger, it's typically people asking me and seeking me out for some help. And they'll typically ask me to have a phone conversation, and then we schedule an appointment, and then I learn a little bit more about what they're trying to do, and then that typically will go into then a paid consultation, where I'm either giving them some training I've already done, I'm advising them on what they can do so they can go do it themselves, or we do it together and we schedule a couple of sessions to write their information together, because Robert, not everybody is a very good copywriter, and that's what a lot of people need help with, is finessing and copy, or finding the right words to really describe themselves and capture their essence. So hopefully that answered your question. It goes to an offline conversation, and then we begin the process from there.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So it goes from the messenger to a call and to some kind of a paid consultation. And do you
Yep.
know what has people already primed to ask these questions? Is it just a matter of LinkedIn itself? Is it a matter of you posting a lot and being like the thought leader
hmm
in that category? I mean,
hmm
what do you think gets people asking you to get on the phone?
I think it's more than just that. I think it's multiple places and multiple engagements. So, for example, I had a gentleman reach out to me a couple of weeks ago and tell me he was really struggling with sales and marketing, and he happens to be in the same geographic area I'm in. So we set up a phone call and we talked, and then we decided we were going to meet in person for a paid consultation. I normally don't meet in person, and I normally meet on Zoom video, but because he was down the road, and there was a Starbucks down the road, we decided to do that. And when I got there, what I learned was I actually thought he had come to me from a different resource. What I learned, and he told me, was that he had attended a training that I had done. He had connected with me on LinkedIn. He has been watching me post articles and updates for a year on LinkedIn. He's on my email database, so he's been getting messages from me about, now I don't just do LinkedIn, I do sales and marketing training, which LinkedIn is a platform to use in sales and marketing. So he sees articles from me there, and he's now ready to make a move and get some assistance in his business. So I can't just say, well, it's just LinkedIn, because it wasn't just LinkedIn. It was a matter of multiple different touch points, and that's typically what happens in any sale. I find is there are multiple touch points, and you can't always determine it was this touch point and this touch point and this touch point, although he knew and he told me, but most people it's hard to discern. My friend Katarina Rando, who is a speaker in the Bay Area, she describes it as marketing as being on a monopoly board. You need to have a lot of different positions on that marketing monopoly board, because you never know where you're going to reach people. And even when I started in advertising sales, I've been in advertising, television advertising sales for 20 years. When I started 20 years ago, the same was true. It's called a media mix. you're not just in one place, you're in multiple places because your consumers are in different places, and they can see you in one place over and over and over, and that might work. Or they can see you here and hear you here and see you there and get an article from you here. And the multiple media message is actually the thing that works. So for me, that's social media, it's networking, it's speaking, it's referrals. It is a lot of different pieces in my strategy to connect with people. And it is giving value and writing articles so people can see that without knowing me, I'm building influence. I'm the real deal. I have information and expertise that they need. By writing articles and giving that value away for free in the beginning, they can build a relationship with me that oftentimes I don't even know they're building. So I'm not aware that they're there, like the person I met with yesterday, and they can, and the risk factor goes down when they are ready to buy because they've already pretty much vetted me out. And then they're coming to me saying, I want to do business with you.
Super awesome. That's very inspiring, and I think, at least for me, it helps provide the encouragement because, as you know, sometimes you put out the YouTube videos or the Facebook posts or the blog posts or the LinkedIn or whatever, and you don't see that immediate result from it. You have to have that leap of faith that, you know, you keep on putting stuff out there and it eventually snowball, or that whole idea that, you know, there are people on our list who are still in the process of being built up, and it might take a few months or a few years of them checking the emails that come in from you only every now and then, or checking the Facebook messages or the LinkedIn, or you're just everywhere and they can't get away from you. And eventually, once the timing is right for them to pull the trigger, I mean, maybe their business is still getting started, or maybe they're too busy, and in 6 months from now, they'll have things cleared out and they'll be ready to jump into whatever offer, whatever training that you have. And so we never know, and the only way to really crack that nut is to be everywhere, have the multiple touch points, and build up so that way, when the timing is right for people, they'll jump on it. So that's really great motivation and encouragement to keep things going. And so as we're winding down our conversation here, I want to make sure that if people's curiosity is piqued from all your great ideas, your thoughts, your strategies, your actions, can you tell us where people can find out more about you and what kind of offers or links you have for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So for sure, go to my website or find me on LinkedIn. Both of those are Darling Coaching. So my website, darlingcoaching.com. If you go there, you can download a free ebook that's how to create your LinkedIn profile. And it has tons of tips on what exactly to do to upgrade your LinkedIn profile so you can attract more prospects and start to engage with people and even find and search for prospects. And it includes a marketing sheet. I was in advertising, like I said, for 20 years, so I look at things from that lens. So it helps you build out your marketing copy, your keywords, your prospects, and then there's a self-assessment in the back, so you can take it and see where you're at right now, and then after you've made your upgrades, you can go and check off the boxes and make sure that you've done everything that you need. And then LinkedIn isn't just to create your profile and set it and forget it. And it's an ongoing engagement tool. And if you engage with it every day, you actually get points from LinkedIn that increases your index and your searchability on LinkedIn and off of LinkedIn and search engines. And so there's that link at at darlingcoaching.com. You can find that there. And also connect with me on LinkedIn at Darling Coaching. I have over 50 articles that are written on LinkedIn that you can access. And those articles include sales tips, how to promote your business. I just published an article in January, 21 ideas to promote your business. There are all kinds of tools on how to increase your sales and increase your marketing, and use LinkedIn over there as well. So go and get those free tools because they're there and they're super valuable to help you with your business.
Super awesome. So darlingcoaching.com, and then Darling Coaching on LinkedIn is where to connect with Jennifer. And it's been really great to hear about your thought process. And what I've been hearing a lot of is that there are the old school, like the sales principles, which still apply. And then there's also some sort of a strategy of social media, that also applies to any platform. Like, they reward you sending your own traffic, they reward you engaging every day, and so why not give them what they want, but also be open and curious to whatever new rules or whatever new features or whatever new things Facebook or LinkedIn or whoever is adding. But most importantly, we need to show up. We need to show up every day and be aggressive, and not just do it one time and forget about it. Keep coming back and keep on posting and keep on interacting, so that way we have a business that builds and builds and builds and is not just a one-off like our social media interaction. So I think that our conversation today was great for anyone who feels like they sometimes get lost in the crowdedness, the swarm of social media, and they want to be able to tap into some of this cutting edge stuff to build the business that they want to build. So everyone should go right now to darlingcoaching.com and then add Darling Coaching on LinkedIn, and we'll see you there. So thanks so much, Jennifer, for stopping by and setting us straight on what we need to know these days as far as LinkedIn. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you having me as a guest. Thank you very much.
Today's episode is sponsored by doneforyoupodcasting.com. Is your podcast not what it should be? What if you could simply show up and have a team deal with content, outreach for guests, editing, production, social media traffic, and more? Check out doneforyoupodcasting.com.